All right, let's talk about the latest internet storm, because once again, comedian Matt Rife has managed to land himself in the middle of drama. If his name sounds familiar, it's probably because every other week he seems to be trending for something questionable. Sometimes it's his comedy, sometimes it's his comments, and now it's about a beauty brand partnership that has the internet scratching its head. Before we dive into the makeup mess, it's worth setting the stage with the strange series of events that led people to be hyper-focused on him in the first place. Recently, Rife became co-custodian of one of the most infamous collections in paranormal history, the artifacts once owned by Ed and Lorraine Warren, the couple whose investigations inspired the Conjuring films. Yes, we're talking about cursed relics, occult items, and most famously, the Annabelle doll that many believe carries a dangerous energy. Imagine one day you're watching a stand-up set and the next, that same comedian is the official caretaker of what's considered one of the creepiest dolls on Earth. It's not exactly the career pivot anyone expected. Fans of the horror community were unsettled, and understandably so. For them, these objects are not just props from a movie. They're loaded with decades of superstition and tragic stories. When someone who's built their brand on cheeky crowd work suddenly announces they'll be opening a museum for the cursed and the haunted, it doesn't exactly inspire confidence. Was this about preserving history and respecting the paranormal world, or was it just another way to cash in on shock value? Opinions were mixed, but the overall vibe was that people didn't really trust his intentions. Now fast forward a little. Just as that paranormal debate was beginning to cool down, Rife found himself in fresh controversy, this time involving makeup giant e.l.f. Cosmetics. For anyone unfamiliar, e.l.f. has built its reputation on being affordable, accessible, and progressive. They emphasize inclusivity, celebrate diversity, and push their message of empowering women at every opportunity. So when a new commercial dropped featuring Matt Rife, the internet went from surprised to outraged almost instantly.
He hurt your wallet?
e.l.f. that!
Alfino and Schmarns have gone to e.l.f. court for millions of clients, helping them to access beauty products they deserve at prices that won't injure their livelihoods.
Just ask the e.l.f.ing people.
I know a thing or two about red flags. In pricey makeup, you deserve better than that.
You may be entitled to benefits.
Let's get you those eyes, lips, funds.
Find out what your case and face are really worth.
Call us at 1-855-COLD-HARD-LASH.
That's 1-855-265-34.
273-2274.
How people gonna remember that?
Well, here's a number you can remember. $9.
Alfino Insurance, affordable beauty attorneys. We'll win the e.l.f. case for your eyes, lips, and face. Call 1-855-265-34.
Call me.
The ad itself was styled like a satirical law office infomercial, with Rife playing a quirky beauty attorney offering clients justice against overpriced cosmetics. It was supposed to be tongue-in-cheek, lighthearted, and funny, but the moment his face appeared in connection with the brand, social media lit up with criticism. People weren't laughing, they were asking, why him? The backlash wasn't just about the randomness of choosing a comedian who has no connection to makeup or beauty. It was about the long list of problematic comments and jokes from Rife's past that resurfaced almost immediately. Old podcast clips circulated again, showing him making degrading jokes about women's bodies. One infamous segment included comments about intimate anatomy that were so cruel and objectifying, they left both audiences and his ex-girlfriend, Brooke Schofield, disgusted. In fact, she later revealed that she was actively seeing him at the time those remarks were made, which added a personal sting to what was already offensive. And that's not even the only example. His Netflix special, Natural Selection, opened with a joke about domestic violence, something many viewers found indefensible. It felt like a pattern of dismissing women's experiences for the sake of edgy humor, and the internet didn't forget. Pair all of that with e.l.f.'s brand identity as a champion for women's empowerment, and you can see why the partnership came across as tone-deaf.
Went on the Stiff Socks podcast with our baby Trevor Wallace.
And I just want to say this is when I knew.
I was still actively seeing him at the time. In fact, we'd gone to dinner the night before. He was telling me all about how he was going on a podcast. I don't know if you guys recall. That was like the most. He's since had it wiped from the internet. I wish I could wipe it from my memory. First offense was Trevor asking what his type was. His answer was blondes with fake. Okay. He goes on to say that he is disgusted by outie vagina. Girls who have outie vagina, because it looks like God left the tag on them. Now, I'm gonna give you guys the canceled exclusive here, but I, Brooke Schofield, have an outie vagina. Imagine me sitting there, my jaw on the floor, You guys thought that was disgusting. The public was like, oh my God, how horrible. Imagine how I felt. He literally just went on a podcast and was like, yeah, I'm repulsed by this bitch.
The frustration online was palpable. Critics pointed out that this wasn't just a casting misstep. It was a complete contradiction of e.l.f.'s carefully cultivated image. This is a company that proudly touts the fact that their board of directors is majority female and highlights its commitment to uplifting women in business and sports. Yet here they were, featuring a man who publicly mocked women's bodies and joked about abuse as the star of their campaign. For many, it was the ultimate "what were they thinking?" moment.
Oh, e.l.f. Cosmetics hired Matt Rife for an ad campaign. e.l.f. Cosmetics? Yeah, the same e.l.f. Cosmetics that campaigned on more diversity and women represented in boardrooms? Yeah. The same e.l.f. Cosmetics that is very publicly supporting women in sports? Yeah. The very same e.l.f. Cosmetics that is all about empowering women and protecting women's rights? Yep. Partnered with Matt Rife, who very famously said he doesn't like women with big clits because it looks like God left the tag on them. Yep. The very same Matt Rife who has stated he doesn't pander to women and he makes his comedy for the bros. Yeah. The very same Matt Rife who opened his Netflix comedy special with a joke at the expense of domestic violence victims. Yeah. And this is how they're advertising it. Hey girl, are you a victim of overpriced beauty? If so, call our cold hard lash line? Yep, they made a victim's helpline advertised with the face of a man who made a joke about a woman getting punched in the face because she didn't cook well enough for her partner. Wow. What a complicated way for them to tell us they're not cruelty-free anymore.
This is what happens when you put your faith in brands. Someone's talking about e.l.f. right now, and I think that's exactly what they wanted you to do. I think this isn't a case of them not knowing any better. I think this is someone from their advertising department that was like kind of a hack that didn't know what to do and their numbers were low, and so they figured they would do what American Eagle was doing, and here we are. There's no way that they just picked this person to be in their ad. You don't pick someone who's that controversial at the moment for making jokes about DV with women and then put them as the face of your campaign. I just honestly, I hate to quote, but this guy is not exceptionally talented, shock value kind of crowd work artist, and that's not why they hired him. They hired him for shock and awe, and now they're getting it. But they've alienated a lot of their base doing this. I think the thing I'm most disappointed in is that these brands that were so performative during Pride and during 2020 are all backtracking and playing to who's in power now. And it just means like you can't trust brands. This is capitalism. This is what happens when you want to make a quick buck because you need numbers to go up. These brands don't have any soul. They never really did.
Some fans even went as far as throwing away their e.l.f. products on camera as a form of protest. Whether that's an effective way to show dissatisfaction is debatable. You've already spent your money. But the symbolism was clear. Customers felt betrayed by a brand they thought aligned with their values. In response to the growing backlash, e.l.f. issued a statement. They said they were listening, acknowledged that the campaign missed the mark, and announced they would be ending the fictional law office bit. On paper, that sounded like accountability, but actions speak louder than words. And the fact that they didn't immediately remove the controversial ad from their platforms left a lot of people unconvinced. If you're truly hearing your community, why leave up the very content that sparked the outrage? Some industry watchers speculated that this might not have been an accident at all. The theory is that e.l.f. intentionally chose someone as polarizing as Rife to guarantee conversation. In an age where viral attention is currency, outrage can sometimes be just as valuable as praise. Other brands have been accused of similar tactics, launching campaigns so provocative or mismatched that people can't help but talk about them, even if the discussion is largely negative. The logic is that controversy creates visibility, and visibility drives sales. But if that was the plan here, it may have backfired by alienating the very demographic e.l.f. claims to champion. The bigger question this raises is about trust in brands. Many companies lean into progressive messaging when it's convenient, promoting diversity, empowerment, and inclusivity when it boosts their public image. But when a decision like this gets made, it exposes a different reality. Sometimes, the values they advertise are more about marketing than genuine conviction. It leaves customers wondering if these companies are truly committed to the causes they claim to support, or if it's all just a polished facade designed to keep people loyal until the next quarterly report. As for Rife, This episode adds to the growing list of controversies surrounding him. For someone whose career took off thanks to viral TikToks that framed him as the charming, quick-witted, hot comedian, his image has shifted drastically. What once seemed like harmless flirty banter with audience members now feels overshadowed by a reputation for offensive humor and tone-deaf decisions. The e.l.f. partnership might have been intended to show him in a different light, but instead, it amplified the criticisms he's been facing for years. At the end of the day, this situation isn't just about one comedian or one makeup ad. It's about the disconnect between what brands say they stand for and the choices they actually make. It's about how quickly the internet can remind us of someone's past behavior, and how difficult it is to rebrand when your controversies keep resurfacing. And it's a reminder for audiences to take corporate messaging with a grain of salt. When money is on the line, integrity is often negotiable. So here we are. Matt Rife is once again trending for all the wrong reasons, e.l.f. is scrambling to repair its reputation, and consumers are left shaking their heads at the whole circus. Maybe the real takeaway is this. If a brand tells you they're all about empowerment, wait to see how they act when the spotlight isn't flattering. That's when their true values or lack thereof are revealed.